Welcome to this case study and conversation with Habib Rahman. He is a dedicated law firm owner. I've had the pleasure of working closely with Habib over a year. And today we're going to be speaking about his journey and how he's managed to get to where he is today. Habib, it's great to speak to you.
Hi, Dan. Thank you. Thank you for having me on board.
So tell the listener, what's your position in your firm? What size was it at the beginning? What do you do?
So my position is the chairman of my firm and have been so for quite some time. We are a small to medium-sized practice. We've got offices up and down the country. And before you came, it was me running everything, managing everything, checking everything, doing the work.
How
Uh,
many were in your team at the time?
the time there was about 68, then we
Okay.
increased it to 75 whilst I've been working with you.
Okay.
So yeah, so now we have in total in the whole Allison Law Network about, I think we've gone up to about nearly 90 staff.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. So bring us back to the beginning. You didn't know me. You hadn't heard of me. Like, what were you
No,
dealing with on a day-to-day basis?
everything. And you get in about 6, 7 o'clock every morning, don't leave till about 8, 9 o'clock. I was
Wow.
dealing with random stuff, for example, or how do I do this on my computer? Or can you help me with this particular question? I was like, I've answered this question before. I keep on answering the same questions. Um, Office issues, just everything, anything and everything is just on your plate. I mean, I walk in, if I take time off the office, it's just like, yeah, now I've lost out so many hours. I've got to come back and I'll have a bunch of paperwork that I will then pass on to whoever he needs to go to. So it was just taking a lot of my time, just not doing what I should be doing, which is running the business or doing any work that I needed to do. I
Yeah.
was more, it was more like answer and question sessions with my staff members on a constant basis on little stuff, not major stuff, and just doing everyone else's job whilst I've got people employed for me, and that was the biggest one.
And so how did that affect like your relationships?
I don't think a lot of people like to admit this, but I was, and it's hard as business owners to like admit it, and some take pride in it, but I wasn't a nice boss. I was a very stressful boss.
Mm,
Going, if people ask me questions, I'm getting really stressed out. Um, I'm answering the question constantly because I just thought by answering that question, I can get them off my plate. But then that created a pattern of, oh, we'll go and ask him again because he knows the answer.
mm.
So we had that. That's what it was, and I was just being so on the edge. I think that's the right word to say. On the edge, very stressed out because I'm on the edge.
Yeah, got
And
it.
that's what it was. And not approachable. I think that the other thing was people were like approaching me with caution. They
Yeah.
thought, what kind of dude is he in to
Wow.
speak to him? So that's how it was, yeah.
Because I've got here some notes from our initial session about
Oh
like
yeah.
your current state analysis, as we called it, and we've got it here. I've put these in inverted commas because these are the things you actually said. I can't do it on my own, uh,
Yeah.
and I'm worried if I don't check every day everything, I'll be behind. Not managing, dictating. I don't think we'll grow. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and and also I can't go on holiday without a laptop.
Yeah. That was wow. That was big. Yeah. I couldn't go on a holiday, I couldn't go a weekend away or anything because I'll be working. And it
Yeah.
came to a stage where my family was like, well, there's no use going on holiday because you're just working.
Wow. Yeah. So there's the impact on your
Yeah,
family. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Got it. And then how did you find out about me?
I think it was your LinkedIn. Yeah, it was some LinkedIn post people were sharing and talking about. And I was just reading some of your articles, and I went onto your website and looked at that, and then looked at some of your LinkedIn posts, and I just thought might be worth having a chat. But at the same time, I spoke to another firm who was having a general chit chat and said, "Well, have a chat with this guy. He seems to be helping people a lot. He can help you out." I was cautious, I'll be honest with you, because I looked at your website and you read all the client success stories and you see the articles written by you, and you just think at that point, well, what is he going to do for me? It's just like, no, it's just, I'll read this and then I'll get an idea. But I'm glad that something made me think that no, go for it, have a chat with him and see how it is. And then we had our first conversation. And
Yeah.
once we had our first conversation, and I was like, hang on, this guy kind of knows what he's talking about. Should I give it a go? I was like, yeah, I should, because it's great reading things and having a chat with you, but like some of the things that you think as an individual business owner, because of your experience, some of the things that you think you may know that in terms of reading it and have knowledge about it, but it's putting things into practice that a lot of people do not know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this journey that we went through is breaking it all down and then breaking it down further and then putting it into practice. Like, do this little step, do this little step there. And then at the end of the journey, when you actually, like, we were, 2 months into the journey when I was like, it just clicked. And it was like, hang on, all this time I've been practicing X, Y, and Z. I can now see the impact of it. And
So
you
before,
remember that, yeah.
bring us back. Like at the time, did you know that you had a dynamic, a problem with your work routine and balance? Did you know that
No,
you thought
no, it
it
was
was not?
just
You
a
did you
no.
think it was normal?
It was normal, yeah,
Yeah,
because
right.
in our industry, it's normal. It's always been normal to work silly hours.
Yeah.
It's just been, you've been processed and programmed that you are going to do a lot of hours.
And so you'd never even looked for a solution because you didn't think it was something that needed solving.
No, it's just a norm. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
just a
right.
norm. I mean, the only solution that I looked at was how can I implement technology to make life easy.
Yeah.
But then when you have implemented that and not using it properly, then it becomes a big problem
Yeah. Yeah, got it.
because you're not
So
using your
what?
technology properly. You can have everything in place, but you're not using it properly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, absolutely. And of course, because it's usually not down to the technology, it's down to the team and teamwork behind the technology, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So what was like some of the first things that we initially worked on that started to make a difference to the hours you were working and the performance of your team?
I think it was having a structure, creating a structure. So I think one of the first things what we did was list all your key members of staff and start nominating them in terms of performance and ability. I think when we started doing that,
Yeah, that was mindset and ability on a scale of one to
yeah,
10. Yeah.
yeah, when we started doing that, then we looked at the team members that you have. And when you look at it on paper and you start putting numbers against those individuals,
Yeah.
then you can make a decision whether or not how can we work with this person to improve themselves, or are they adding value to your business?
Yeah.
It allowed me to, make some decisions which has been the best for the business. Because when you start doing that task, you look at, okay, this person is not performing well. You're giving them opportunity to perform. They haven't. They shouldn't be part of the business any longer.
Mm,
Made that decision more clear to
yeah.
make. I think the other thing that we did was we just broke down what you want to achieve, and it's because we had a end of 3-year plan.
Yeah.
How do you get to that 3-year plan? And it's just breaking it down by firstly weeks, months, and then by years
Yeah.
that you can actually achieve that. You can see that you can achieve it.
Yeah, nice. Nice. I I remember in one conversation with me, you said something like, I always wanted to be a leader, and now I am. I'm now a leader.
Yeah.
I'm actually leading people. What was that realization you had?
Anyone, for me, anyone can be a business owner. You can go out buying a business owner. You can try and managing a business. But as a business owner, you've got to lead your team. I think that's key. You have to lead. And we all think that we have this aspect of we know how to lead. And to be honest, I didn't. I didn't have. I wasn't a leader. 12 months ago, I wasn't a leader. I
But
am now.
what makes you say you weren't a leader? Like what was happening that confirms you weren't a leader as such?
I was doing everything.
Okay.
There was no delegation. I didn't want to delegate because I was worried that things won't get done.
Mm,
I thought that I couldn't trust my team members to do their job.
mm.
So I was constantly checking it and everything. But then the business wasn't growing because the
So,
business was
so
too
how
stuck with me.
so how did you gain, like, how did you start to trust your people? What was it? Because that's quite a jump from going from that to being what you call a leader
Yeah,
that
it
trusts people.
was. It was. So we did an exercise about how we should tackle each problem, how we should delegate, how you should ask the questions.
Mm,
And I think that's what it was. It's that, and then having one-to-one meetings every week with my staff, and then getting them to have meetings, the heads of department having meetings with their staff members, and funneling that through from what I've learned from you, passing it on. So, for example, before someone used to come to me saying, this notice here, is this correct? And I look at it and I'll say, well, no, it's not. I'll draft it for you instead. But that way is the task is done, but it's done by me. But what have my staff members learned? Nothing.
mm.
It was just, I'll do the job, go away. Or they'll come and ask me a question, for example, how do I get this on from our case management system? Oh, I'll do it for you.
Mm.
But now it's very different because now they'll come and ask me questions, right? Okay, where do you think we need to go? Here, right? Okay, so you need to go there. Perfect. What do you need to do? I need to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, have we agreed that you can do this? Do you need any further training from it? No, I don't. Okay, when can you get it done?
So what you're talking about there is the difference between advising and leading. So
Yeah,
instead of telling people what to do, you're asking them what to do and how they're going to do it, and then agreeing on
yeah,
what they're going to do.
yeah. So in that way, it builds confidence. They
Yeah.
get the reassurance. I'm not doing the task. They actually know where the task to be done. And believe it or not, by doing this in that manner, I haven't got that same question coming back to me. To be honest, I haven't had any questions in the last few months coming back to me. Everything seems to be running smooth. But I don't have these questions anymore
Yeah.
because once it's been answered once, naturally everyone kind of gets the idea, well, I need to start thinking first. And what the issue that we had is everyone comes to me, I'll give you the answer, or I'll do the task for you.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But now it's completely different.
How?
Our meetings are structured in such a way, it's like bullet points, right? We've got this issue. This is where we need what we need to do. Does anyone have any questions about it? Can we clarify it? Yes, we can. Do you know how to do it? Yes, we can. When can we get it done? We can get it done by this date. It's like they come with the problem and the solution.
Yeah.
Before it was just um, um, before it was just a problem.
Yeah, got it. So
This is the problem.
you've basically learned to elevate the responsibility of all your team members so they are
Yeah.
actually responsible for their performance and their results instead of
But
coming to you with
yeah,
the problem thinking you're supposed to make it all happen.
yeah. And they're doing that. And not only are my heads of departments doing that, but also their team is doing that too.
Wow. So that's really advanced leadership that is there. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
So
you're enabling others to lead and manage others effectively.
yeah, and that has had so much like there's no need for this month is busy because we've got a lot of deadlines this month, but there's no need for them to be. I don't feel like my staff are now stressed at work.
Wow.
I feel like my staff members are really like my team, that I've got this really good team. I'm so, so proud of them. I've got an amazing team now. I'm so proud of them that they they can think for themselves and do the task and they feel happy when they're at work.
Yeah,
There's no
nice.
need for them to come and stay late. I, I, and that's like from my point of view, I think it's my greatest pride in all this is that whatever I've learned from you, I've had the ability to pass it down and to see that working with my team.
Yeah. And you
And
pass it down to
that's,
your heads of department, who then pass it down to
yeah,
their team members. Yeah.
yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like they do the hours, my tasks and everything are getting completed. You know, I'm not having anyone approaching me, you know, to ask for X, Y, and Z. They find the solutions themselves. And it's
Amazing.
great.
And
And
how has that impacted like the hours that you work now?
oh, really reduce the number of hours. I can take a few hours off work without the worry of thinking I've got to come back to work and etc. You know,
Nice.
I'm out there meeting potential new clients now, traveling up and down the country, meeting new clients.
Yeah, nice.
I have the ability to do that and spend time with them and give my 100% to new clients. I'm doing that because I know that if I get a piece of work, I don't have the worry of thinking, oh, I have to micromanage that piece of work.
Yeah, nice. So that's giving you the freedom to go out there and really do amazing business development and
Yeah.
grow your firm.
And I know, yeah, and I know my team will meet the standards that I expect because they want to do it,
Mm,
not just because it's a job and they have to do it. And changing that mentality from within my team of us feel like they want to do things, not because they have to, because it's their job.
mm.
That that is mind blowing. And that was only done through how do you actually delegate that work, or how do you ensure that you are you're leading your team. It's leadership through delegation. How do you do that? That's what it was.
Brilliant. And so now, from what I understand, is you actually have evenings with your family and your kids
Yeah,
and
yeah,
weekends,
yeah. Weekends, yeah.
and you've been
I
able
don't
to
answer
go
my
on holidays, right?
Yeah, I don't answer my calls on the weekends anymore. There's no need for it. I don't. After 6 o'clock, my phone's off. I don't speak to anyone. Um, yeah, it's great.
So, look,
Is it?
so this all sounds very nice, but let's talk about money. Like,
Yeah,
what's the percentage increase that you've seen over the year working with me?
15%,
Nice. Okay, so that's a steady
fifteen
number.
percent increase. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
and which is good. And I also remember another target that we had was on the second year. Let me get it here. It was here, able to take home 500K per year after tax. Now, obviously, I don't want you to disclose anything, but
yeah.
I do remember us looking at that and then you saying you'd done it, but then invested the money in acquiring another firm, right?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. So I could have got the money, but we didn't. Instead, we acquired another practice. Yeah.
Nice.
So it was there. Yes. But the thing is, it would have not been there had I not made these drastic changes.
Mm,
You know, as an individual myself, I had to make, you know, these drastic changes and then lead that towards my team. And had I not become a leader, I don't think I would have achieved that.
yeah, fascinating. Yeah, it's amazing. You know, it brings back to me all the work that we've done, the regular one-on-one calls between you and each head of department, and then getting that going week by week by week, and then getting them to have weekly one-on-one calls with each of their team members. And then, yeah, as you've done, as you've learnt these leadership management skills, including clear requests, agreeing on deadlines, not advising, but leading them to find the answers and
Yeah,
solutions, and then getting them to do that with each member in their teams, it seems to be the one of the major parts of why you're achieving and enjoying this success now, right?
yeah. And I think another thing, Dan, your famous saying, where it has made my mindset on thinking about issues that there isn't a problem. There's always a solution for everything.
So what's
You know,
that famous line? Do you remember it? There's
yeah, I
never
do. There's never a, oh, what's
there's
it?
never
There's
anything
never
wrong.
something wrong. There's always something missing.
That's it. There's
Yeah.
never anything
There's
wrong.
never
There's only
anything
ever
wrong.
something missing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, if you look into that, yeah, it's only a few words, but the impact of actually learning that and putting it into practice is massive. Because we're, as lawyers, we deal with problems on a regular basis. It's
Yeah.
just problems after problems. Those problems can have, effect on us. We take it home. We destroy our lives with it. But if you change your mindset to think, well, actually, there's nothing wrong. There's always a solution for something. It changes the way you tackle a problem. Like when something comes onto my desk, I look at it, right, there's nothing wrong here. There's always a solution to this issue. It's straight away you look at the positive type of dealing with an issue. We don't look at how negative it is, because you're going to be bogged down for days and maybe hours, bogged down on how negative it is. Now I look at things and say, right, how do I resolve it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you look at that side of stuff. Yes, there's something happened there, fine. But how do I resolve it? And trying to get to think on that level and trying to get your mind to work on that level, it's amazing what it achieves. It achieves this thing of I can take on the world now
Because
because I
because
know
there's
what to do.
well, because there's never anything wrong. There's only ever something
Yeah,
missing.
that's right. Yeah.
And
So
and that
what is missing to, yeah,
that's it. And what's so powerful about that statement is usually we go into blaming things, blaming
yeah,
people, blaming computers, blaming everything. But instead, if we remove the blame and just step into that statement, look, there's never anything wrong. There's only something missing. What is missing that will have you not make that mistake again? Or what is missing that you need from me that's going to make a difference to this? And it makes everyone move from becoming blamers to investigators. In other words, from blamers to people who take responsibility. That what you found?
yeah. 100%, because then it's easy to take responsibility
Yeah, because there's
because
no blame.
there's no blame. Yeah, there isn't, and that's the mindset that within my team I have worked really hard to get them to think like that.
Yeah,
And
brilliant.
because they started thinking like that, they're more approachable if there's an issue
Yeah,
within their own team. I still have regular one-to-one meetings every Tuesdays. I sit down with my heads of department. My door's open. They can come have a little chit chat with me, sit down with me, have meetings with me. And it's like those meetings, if there's anything wrong, it's not anything wrong. It starts off now with, we had this missing within our system and procedures. We have done X, Y, and Z to prevent X, Y, and Z. So it's gone the opposite way around. Whereas in the past, it was like, we've had this problem. This is the problem. This is what do we need to do? Can you tell us what to do? Then you went to a situation, we've got this problem and this is a solution. Can you approve this solution? But now it's, this is the solution. This is what we've done to prevent this problem.
yeah, yeah,
Got the whole team sitting there, listen, like they're all saying the same thing. Yeah, and it's just like, wow, you know, that, that's, these guys are my future leaders of my business.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love it. I'm so proud of you and everything you've achieved, and I've absolutely loved being part of your journey. What would you say to other law firm owners that are kind of finding out about me or thinking about working with me, and perhaps like they looked at the case studies on my website and they thought, oh, well, how can that work for me?
It does work. It does work. The case studies and even this with me is a it's evidence from a legal point of view.
So if they contacted you to say, Habib, did you really achieve all this with working with Dan? What would
Yeah,
you say?
I'll say 100%. At the start, you will not feel like um you don't feel like, or you don't understand what's going on. I think that's the key at the
Mm.
start. But like me and you, we had issues where I started cancelling some of the appointments. Yeah, and then
Wow,
you just
cool.
have to be, yeah, we had a conversation because you need to stick with it. And the more you stick with it, the more things that you do, and you have to practice what you do. When you start to do that, then you will realize that things are improving. It doesn't happen overnight. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I was 8 months, 9 months down the line where I started seeing small improvements, and those small improvements were making a massive difference to me.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
came to like 10 months or so, suddenly just everything just clicked. Our last month was just me and you having a conversation. This is what came up, this is how I dealt with it, and just reiterating what I've learned over the last few months and practice and putting it into action and seeing the
Yeah.
results by my team
Yeah.
members.
And
I
and
think
I I
the
I
other
know.
thing,
Go
yeah,
on.
I think the other thing that you do teach is how do you talk to your team members?
Mm.
It's like, for example, but and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in the past, saying, yeah, you've done this, but you could have done this. That straight away used to put them off. But now it's like, yes, you could have done this, and could you look at doing this in the future because of this?
Yeah.
It just comes across so nice and so professional with your team members that they they feel like that their work is actually getting feedback instead of getting criticisms.
Yeah, nice, nice. It's a big one that, and it's a small tweak within language. But when you were
Yeah,
saying it was sort of 8, 9 months before you started to really see the work we were implementing, my other clients they start to see results often within weeks, certainly within a
yeah,
month or two. But for you, if I may say it, your law firm was an absolute nightmare of a mess to keep
yeah,
running, wasn't it? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you had team members who were not supporting you, weren't doing what you asked of them, heads of department that really didn't care about their position, that were leading whole departments.
yeah.
And so it took us 8, 9 months to really turn things around and get them stable for you to now experience this flight and takeoff, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I had a lot of team members that had been with me for such a long time, and they were comfortable in what they were doing. And trying to change that took time too.
Yeah.
Trying to get them to understand. And the biggest thing is me, how I was approaching the situation. And
Yeah.
once that I got myself in a situation where I understand that this is the way I need to approach, it started to get better and better
Mm.
and better.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. And so now you've gone from working exhausting hours, team members letting you down, never been able to go on holiday, and obviously limited growth to now growing by 15% at the end of that year, end up making 500,000 capital to invest. And
Yeah.
and now you're able to go on holiday, spend evenings with your family, weekends with your family. What are you what are you excited about now with all these skills that you've got? What do you see is possible for you in the future?
To be honest, anything is possible. The skill sets that I have now, anything is possible for my business. We I have an amazing team now where I can grow. Anything's possible for us now.
Mm.
We have so much ambition as a team. We want to grow together. My team are excited about how we're going to expand our plan. We had a 5-year growth plan, and everyone's saying, well, we've got 2 years left on this growth plan, but we really need to redo the growth plan because our objective has now completely changed. You know, everyone wants to be part of a team that wants to grow further. I feel like I have this amazing team that just wants to push the business further and further. I mean, we did a recent acquisition. I mean, it wasn't something on my agenda, but my team have turned around and said, go ahead, do it. Don't worry about anything else. We can support you. And that acquisition has gone so nice and smooth because I've just had my teams coming together saying, right, we can help you with this, we can help you with that. We can make a list for you of everything, that needs doing. And I was like, well, the fact I've got the list and everything, but the fact that they use the initiative to actually turn around and say, we'll do some of these tasks for you.
Yeah,
And
nice.
and I was like, wow. And that's the thing. I've achieved something like money can't buy. Like for myself, purposely, they see me as a leader of the business, that's someone that wants to take the business forward. They don't see me as a guy who's got answers to all the problems. That's what I was in the past, and who does all the hours and does everyone's work. They see he's a leader. We need to support him by doing what we need to do, and that's no money can buy that. And that's just through you, Dan, all the training that you've helped us, practice and kept me going because I, kept on missing your appointments, and you were like, no, you need to attend, and I'm glad I did.
Brilliant. Well, look, again, thanks so much for, choosing to work with me and trusting me. And, if you're a law firm owner or partner listening to this, I'm sure Habib would be happy if you reached out to him for advice about working
Yeah,
with me. And yeah, I'm really excited to stay in touch and hear all your ongoing success, Habib. Thanks so much.
thank you, Dan.